Alrighty, lumberjacks, welcome back to another episode of FDR Logging. So today we're going to, I think I'm going to clean up this stuff. Oh, you guys get to see the new dangle grapple. Dun dun dun. It's actually kind of fun. So we're actually gonna, I have like so many mixed piles of wood here, so I'm actually just gonna clean this stuff up because I want to get it out of the way. Let's move this guy first. Get a little bit over there too. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get all of that. Oops, what's going on with my pedals here? There we go. I don't know if we're going to be able to get all of that on one load or not. Actually, what we'll do is let's use this guy to kind of shuffle that short stuff over there. I always forgot we have that pile up here that we got to come process one day too. We're going to use two loaders to do one job. So today's subject... Oh, so you're already getting a little bit of lag there. Just got to wait for it to settle. That's why I want to clean this stuff up, because we're so all over the place. Today's subject, we're going to talk about mod releases and timelines and that kind of fun stuff, because I've had lots of questions. Actually, no, I'll just drive the truck over there when we get there. Screw it. Let's park about here. I think that'll give us a pretty good indication. Let's go find our truck here. So the question at hand was... It's actually funny, I get this question lots from people. So sometimes immediately after I release a mod update. So a mod update generally has fixes, changes, new mods, all kinds of stuff on an FDR logging mod update. Sometimes immediately, the day I release it or the day after I release it, I get people asking, when's the next one? When's the next mod update? When are you going to put the next one up? Is that coming? When's that coming? Is that coming up soon? And it's like I literally just finished it. So no, it's not coming right away. So like expectations on timelines. That's why I wanted to go into that a little bit today. So timelines. When I do these mod updates, there's a lot that goes into them. It's a lot of hours of tweaking and playing with the log physics, messing around. Even the stuff you guys are looking at right here in this video today has not been released yet. This is experimental stuff that I've done with new log physics, new stuff that I play with whenever I get the chance. So I'm constantly tweaking and playing around with the game to try to make it more optimal. I play in multiplayer sessions and I see things and then I go, oh, how can I make that better? How can I fix that? How can I make it easier for people to use? So I'm always making little tweaks and little changes to things that I'm doing in the game in general. So in this case, the stuff you're seeing isn't even released yet, and I'm not even sure it'll probably change multiple times before it's released from what you're seeing today. But I'm pretty happy so far with the little changes that I've made. Anyway, besides the point. So lots of changes go into these mod updates, and there's lots of new mods that get added to the mod updates. So you'll see new machines, new attachments, new whatever, new stuff that the Patreons voted on, or the YouTube members that you guys have voted on to get put into the game. Well, to make all this stuff, to make these changes, to take this time to sort it all out, to make the new machines, it is not a fast process. It is very slow. I can spend up to a week, sometimes 2 weeks, depending on my schedule, working on one single machine, trying to get it converted into the game. So it's not like it's not like I just click two buttons and go, okay, well, we bought the model and boom, we're done. The whole process of the actual, like, getting a new model into the game, I think I've gone over this before, but we'll just light touch on it. It starts off with, what I do now is I find a list of suggested mods from Patreons or YouTube members, people that want things built that are within our capabilities. So I'll go, okay, a whole bunch of people said they want this, a whole bunch of people said they want this. So what I'll do is I'll take a photo of each thing, and in Patreon and in YouTube, for the members, I will post a vote. So you get an option. You can either vote to get this machine built or get this machine built. I wish I could do both, but it is very expensive to do it, so I don't generally, not able to get both unless we have a whole bunch of money saved up. After the Patreons have voted, the vote's completed, I pick the machine. I then have to go find every possible human reference photo of that machine that exists in real life. So I go on a giant Google search, I go to auction pages, I go to YouTube videos, anything I can to get a good idea of what that machine looks like, or every aspect of that machine and what it looks like, because I want it to be as authentic as possible. Oops, that's a little close. Let's back that up a little further. So I go through, I find pictures of the interior of the cabs, I find pictures of the body, every angle. You have to find basically an angle of every side of it, like all the way around 360 degrees. And once I get all the photos, I have to send it off to this modeling team that I use, and I tell them what I need and what I don't want and what I do want. And then after they've completed, or after I've completed that, the project's made, the payment's done, all the fun paperwork of that stuff is completed. It then goes into their hands, which usually takes a couple weeks for them to get it sorted out. Then it's not over then, because once I get my copy back, I'm horrendously picky about the model bodies. Sometimes modelers will make it close, but it'll be missing certain things, or it might be a mistake that I made on my end, or something's not accurate the way I wanted it. So I will go back and forth with them on going, nope, I don't want that. Nope, got to change that. And sometimes the model gets sent back and forth like 4 or 5 times before we get a final version that I'm happy with. And then when I reach the final version that I'm happy with, we bring it into Giants and start tearing it. Actually, no, that's a lie. We bring it into Blender, because I generally have to do color scheming and U-dimming and stuff that is related to the Giants engine. The U-dim tearing and setting of all the different colors and shader maps and all that kind of fun stuff. I also have to take the model apart, because when I get it from the modeler, it's one whole unit. So I got to break it apart piece by piece. Basically, anything that moves has to be its own separate object. And then once that's completed, I can bring it into the Giants editor, start pulling it apart, painting it, making all the right colors, setting up all the cylinders and the movements and the arm movements and the basically everything. Some things are a little bit easier, like the booms and stuff are easy, because I have a pretty much universal system where I can kind of copy paste the booms. I have to do a little bit of work. Obviously, it's not perfectly a copy paste situation, but it makes it a little bit easier. So that takes a little bit of time out of it, but not a crazy amount. So yeah, and then once that's all situated, it's got to go to testing, and then so like I said, it's a slow process doing each new machine and new model and new everything that we bring in here. And even when I'm bringing old models, because some guys were like, well, you're just converting it from the last game, and it's like, no, we're not. None of the mods that you see in FS25 are converted from FS22. They're all brought, like, the model doesn't have to get rebuilt by the modeler, but the model itself is still in raw format in Blender and has to be reconfigured before I can use it for anything. I'm going to see if we can get a good portion of this pile on there. I don't know how that's going to go, but we'll try. Oops, without running into the grapple. So all that being said, it is not a extremely fast process. It takes a lot of time. So it can be anywhere up to 2 to 3 weeks just for getting a new model sorted out. Just getting it sorted out. And then another couple weeks of me playing with it to get it into the game properly to make it work. Oh, we're going to have really bad lag here, because this pile is over here where all the other ones are. I don't know why we're getting such bad frame rate here, but there's something going on. That's okay. We're just going to do our thing. Load it up how we know how. But yeah, so anyway, when I get the question, it's like, when's the next mod update coming out? It's like, I don't know. I was doing it once a month before, when I had a little bit more time on my hands, when I had less jobs. I was able to do usually one update a month, but now it's usually every couple months, or, you know, I'm not in a big rush. I want it to be a good update. And if I release one every month, you guys aren't getting a huge change in the update modeling perspective. So sometimes it'll be a month if it's a real fast thing that I really want to quickly change, or a new discovery that I'm excited about. Sometimes it's 2 months, sometimes it's 3 months, who knows? But this is not my full-time job whatsoever, so sometimes I'll take time off too. I'll take a couple weeks where I'm like, you know what, I'm not modding for these 2 weeks. And that's something you got to do as a healthy human being so you don't overwork your brain and mind and get burnt out. Let's see if we can sneak these in there. Oh yeah, perfect. Oh, I think one fell off the other side. I can't be certain, but it kind of looked that way. So yeah, all that being said, sorry, I'm always focused when I'm loading here. These are kind of weird logs in a laggy position here. Okay, let's get this out of here. Oh, it didn't fall off. It almost fell off, but not quite. So yeah, when will the next mod update be out? You never know. I'll usually post, usually within a few weeks of when it's coming out, but I've kind of slowed down in terms of rushing updates out, and it's just because I have my own personal life, and it's very busy outside of this world as well. So, like I said, if I did this full time, it'd be very different. I could have you guys weekly updates for sure, but not a full-time job by any means. So, there we go. Oops, get right back in the same truck. So yeah, don't worry about it. It'll happen when it happens. Mod updates will come out when they come out. But yeah, I just get that question a lot, so I just want people to be aware. It's a big process, and it's not always my number one priority in life. FDR logging. I love it. It's fun, but there are other things in life besides this game, unfortunately. I wish that was my whole existence, was just this game alone, and I didn't have to work or do anything else. I could just make more intense stuff. I should have gotten to the farming side if I want to do that. I should do that. I'll turn into FDR farming and then start creating farming machines and farming equipment, which, believe it or not, I think would be way easier than logging. There's just a lot less moving parts. It's actually quite easy to build their stuff. I've seen some of the back. Not saying all the stuff. Some of the cultivating stuff and the weird things that they create for farming are pretty complicated, but logging physics-wise is still some of the most complicated stuff for sure. Because in a tractor format, you're kind of just worrying about your actual physics of your machine, like the way it drives and the tires and that kind of stuff. This thing, you're worrying about the frickin' weights and the angles and how each boom moves and interacts with the stick and and tilts and tracks, and there's a lot going on with these mods. But it's fun. I don't know. I like playing with it. I have an obsessive tinkering fascination. I like to tinker with things until they become more effective. But yeah, you know what? Good times. But yeah, I do get that question a lot. When's the next mod update? How come the mod's not out yet? When's it coming out? So I've learned, I used to be like so rushy about it. I was like, oh yeah, okay, gotta get that out. I'm really excited about that. Really want to get it out. Now I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Take your time. Don't rush it. Do it right. Make sure it works. Test it thoroughly in multiplayer and single player to make sure there's no god-awful mess-ups. And even then, even after like thorough testing, I still make little minor mistakes, or I forget things, or I miss things. Some people pointed stuff out that I'm like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. Thank you. The mod bug reports actually that people send are really, really helpful. I've gotten lots of really in-depth ones from people, and I'm like, wow, that's something I never even thought was an issue. I appreciate that. And I go in and I'm able to figure it out. Stuff I probably never would have discovered. But that's the joy of logging, is everybody does this stuff absolutely different from each other, and that leads to people discovering things that you may not have ever discovered before. Whoop. Here we go. Yeah, so anyway, you guys will see over the next year, this year being 2025, mod updates will be kind of here and there. The other thing that I've started to realize, it's like I would rather give a mod update with tons of fun stuff in it that's new, as opposed to just a mod update with like 2 or 3 machines. It's like, all right, well, that's kind of boring. It's like DLC kind of, right? If you're doing DLC, might as well give people like a decent amount. I could just give you little bites throughout the year, I suppose, to keep it interesting. How much was it? 59,000. Actually, we don't need to do any more of that. We could probably use our grinder and clean up a bit. I'm actually just going to grind this pile because I think there's something wrong going on up here. Because for whatever reason, this pile is causing a lot of frame rate issues, so we're just going to wipe it out. I think it was just because that other pile was there, but whatever. This will be fun. I like grinding things, so we'll just wreck it. But yeah, so I don't know. I'm sure differing opinions. Some people want stuff like every week, and then some people want... Because I wanted to do that too. Like if I had my mod downloads set up a little bit differently, in a way that would work better, I would love to be able to just be like, oh, this mod's done, and then set a release for next week, and then be like, oh, here's a new mod, come get it. But because all my mods kind of have to be in a package together, I hate being like, oh, here's one new mod, and you have to download the whole pack again. Like I said, this seems really extra work for no reason. So I'd much rather give you guys like one really big update that's got like tons of changes and lots of new toys and lots of new stuff in it. And then at least it's worth downloading it all again. But if I just put one machine in there, you guys are like, oh my god, do we have to download the one machine every time? And then as other people have suggested, oh, why don't you just put the one single machine available for download outside of the pack? And it's like, yeah, but then if I update the pack, I have to update the machine, individual machines. I've tried it all. Like I've done individual downloads. Individual downloads was the most amount of work for sure, having each machine as its own available download. The other problem was I had issues with people downloading a single machine and being like, it doesn't work. And I was like, yeah, well, you need to have the control bindings file. And they're like, well, what is that? I don't want that. I want to just have the machine. It's like, all right. So universally, it's easier putting it all in one pack just to make life more sensible. But there's no perfect way. There's no perfect answer to it all. And these trees are a lot longer than I thought they were. Pull that one out of there without killing it. See if we can get that. Oops. There we go. Let's try and do it without wiping out all these other trees here if possible. But yeah, it's always fun adding new toys into the mix and doing different things. And Lord knows we're got lots of stuff in the works. The one thing I did fall flat on was yarders, unfortunately. I was really hoping to get yarders working, and I have one that's like an experimental version that I was playing with, and it's like yes, it works, but not in a really great way. It's kind of a cable style one, and it's all just like a bare bones alpha play test one. But basically what it does is you can use the winch line on the back of the yarder, just like these machines have, to attach it to a tree to basically tie it down, and then use the other portion on the winch line to connect to logs and drag them up a hill. But the two winches don't really like playing in unison together, so if you try to detach the logs, it detaches the yarder from the tree, and there's no way to really separate that, which is super annoying, because I would love to be able to do that. But I even tried playing with the in-game yarder scripts and all that stuff, and like I said, there's just no real easy way to sort it. It's kind of a nightmare. Maybe we'll go up and start processing this other pile here too. Actually, maybe I shouldn't process where the buncher hasn't really been yet. Maybe we'll bunch a little bit more. Let's bunch. We'll make some big bunching piles here for a little bit. So yeah, it's always a struggle trying to find the perfect combination for modding and timing and releasing, and I mean, like I've done in previous jobs, I understand the marketing side of things of, like, you know, in the ADD culture that we live in, where people constantly want new stuff all the time. You got to keep up with that to stay relevant, but I don't know. I just feel like we're kind of in a different zone here a little bit. Well, that, and I'm not like, the thing is, like, I'm not a company with a bottom line. That's the biggest problem, right? You see companies like Apple and like Nvidia and all these companies that are like a consumer-based market, where in order to stay alive, they have to constantly be producing new novel stuff all the time to stay alive, because that's their business model, is selling and making money. My business model has nothing to do with money. I mean, it needs money coming in order to create new product. That's true, like Patreon donations and that kind of stuff, in order to keep things getting created. So that part is true about the business model. But me as a individual, this company, I don't need the financial from it, because it's not my primary source of income. It's not even a partial source of income from this stuff. So for me as a company looking at it, it's like, yeah, I may not be doing the whole chasing the consumer thing, but I also don't really need to, simply because I don't have a bottom line I need to keep. I don't have investors. I don't have like a public entity that I'm appeasing with the financial growth of the company. So basically, we could do whatever we want. And, we could mod every day, not mod for a week, not mod for 6 months. And if the company doesn't make profit, or does make profit, it doesn't matter. Because I don't have to answer to anybody except for myself as the company owner. So that's kind of the difference with chasing the novelty side of things. I'm kind of going off the beaten track with my bunching here, but I'm also trying to make some half decent sized decks to work with. Let's get these two here, and then we'll call that a good pile, I think. So yeah, mod updates will happen when they happen. At the end of the day, I'm one guy making all this stuff, and I'm still human, and I have a family, and I have priorities outside of this, so I take my time. I don't rush. I am really happy when I do release stuff, because it is kind of like a badged mark of honor of like, oh, hey, we accomplished this. It's done now, and we can move on to the next chapter. I don't know. I enjoy that part too. But you know what they say? It's all about the journey, right? It's the journey that's the fun part. It's not always the destination. And with modding, I find that to be absolutely true. I find I'm more bored of modding after I'm actually done with stuff. There's nothing more fun than just being in the midst of like solving something, or being part of a big project that you're working on, and just going through the motions and getting everything set up. And then when it's done, it's kind of like, ugh, well, now I'm bored. I want more stuff, challenges. And there are some things, like, again, I feel like I've kind of hit my limit with Farming Simulator in terms of new discoveries. I mean, you can always find neat little whatever doodaddy trick stuff, or like new stuff that makes the game slightly better, or slight improvements. But I haven't found any major breakthroughs in anything in a very, very long time, which is kind of sad, because I always like to discover. And I mean, I've torn this game apart quite vividly. And yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I'm like, oh man, what is left? I guess we just keep manufacturing new equipment. I mean, that's fun too. I like building new machines, so I feel like we're kind of past the point of the physics now where I can really make them a whole lot better, other than just tweaking. Until the game has like a new engine or something real special happens, I don't think we're going to have a whole lot of giant magical improvements. Not without the developers of the actual game creating new features that us modders can play with. But I'm definitely getting more into the map editing again. I'm having a lot of fun with that, so I'm hoping I'll be able to do quite a bit more maps this year. And again, that's another thing I don't like rushing. I don't like rushing maps. I like to take my time on those and kind of have fun with them. I want it to be interesting. I'm more interested in building the forest than the infrastructure on maps, but so I should hire somebody to be the infrastructure person. You build all the mill areas and the buildings or anything, building areas, town type areas, and just leave me to the forests because I like the forest part. I get so bored putting down buildings and trying to arrange pylons and stuff. It's just like the most boring part. The true fun comes from building the forests in the natural areas. That's just, oh, I love doing that. Too much fun. All right, here we go. We're going to Kerplunski's these, and I think that'll probably be the end for us for this episode. That was fun, though. We got to play around with some new stuff and talk about mod scheduling. For all those people out there that are like, when do the mods come? They'll show up when they show up. That's how that works. Right on. Cool. Well, we cut down some more trees. We cleaned up that pile, fixed our lag spike issue. It seems to be really good now. So I think it was something to do with just those trees touching the other trees there. But yeah, we'll keep mowing along here and keep the party rolling. All right, guys, we'll leave it at that, and we'll catch you on the next one. See ya.